everyone, welcome back to Scented Moments channel. I'm JOÃO. I hope you're all doing well, and today I will talk about a topic that I never mentioned before. Blind buying fragrances. Usually I don't recommend blind buying because it's a huge risk and you are spending money in a fragrance that you don't know if you will love it or not. So it's a huge risk, even for me to recommend you something that you never tried before. But that doesn't mean that you cannot blind buy. Just if you know your taste, if you know what type of fragrances you really love, and if the note breakdown appeal to you because you have similar or you have a similar taste in those type of scents. So I think that's the safest point where you can blind buy fragrances. Usually we start blind buying when we are starting this hobby. I speak for myself at least, and even what I see in fragrance groups and other online threads, blind buying, usually people who want to blind buy are very new to this community, and it's normal. When you're new to this community, you want to explore the maximum. You want to try all the fragrances that are getting hyped, all the fragrances that are getting talked about and you can't find in your department store, so you want to blind buy. You have that urge to blind buy. It's normal because everything is new, so that's why we want to explore everything. But when you start to dive in more into this hobby, you see that not all fragrances are worth blind buying or even having a full bottle. So this comes with all the experience with this hobby. I don't blind buy as much as I once did. I think that's normal, but for now I will talk about my top 10 best blind buys. And first, and this is in no specific order, first I will mention it's a fragrance from the house of RASASI. It's of their more expensive line, their oud line actually, and it is ASRAR Indonesia, featured on my top 5 best oud fragrances. Love oud, and this one was a huge score. Bought this in Notino. Here in Europe we still have Notino. Unfortunately, I know that my fellow Americans don't have anymore, but bought this from Notino, and what a blind buy. This has one of the best oud notes, very natural smelling oud with bergamot, ginger, has a black tea accord. It's such a unique oud. To this day I still have yet to try something similar that comes close to the quality, the blend, and the uniqueness of this scent. RASASI ASRAR BORUZZ ASRAR Indonesia, something like that. It's wonderful oud scent and very versatile. Next I will mention a fragrance from the house of LALIque, and it is none other than Encre Noire à l'Extrême. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, vetiver fragrance. No, you still have Sultan Vetiver by Nichane. I was forgetting that one, which is my favorite. This one is my second favorite. I couldn't, and to this day I still can't find LALIque Encre Noire à l'Extrême in any department store here in Lisbon at least. Blind bought this, love vetiver, so this was right on my alley, and what a score. This is balsamic, slightly resinous, it's dark, it has such a complex vetiver note in here. Wonderful scent, and as you can see by the color of the liquid, featured on my top 10 fall list of last year. It was my number 1. This year I think I'll wear this more into the winter time. It has a performance. Wonderful scent. It was a fantastic blind buy, and it's quite affordable. So if you love vetiver, if you love your balsamic, slightly resinous fragrances, check this one out. LALIque Encre Noire à l'Extrême. I purchased this for a very affordable price. I think it was back then it was 35 euros for a 100 ml bottle size like this, so it was a no-brainer for me. LALIque Encre Noire à l'Extrême. Next in this one was my very first niche fragrance from the house of CARNER Barcelona, and it is Palo Santo. I blind bought this one and Costarella from the same brand, but this one takes the lead just because it's more unique and it's in the gourmand territory, which I absolutely love. This has warm milk, it has Gaiac wood, it has Palo Santo, but here, because of the warm milk, the Gaiac wood, this is very creamy, it's very realistic it's very realistic, it has a very realistic milk. Wonderful scent. It was a blind buy and it was one of my best, and because of course it was my first niche fragrance, Palo Santo by CARNER Barcelona, all perfect for this fall and winter time. And next, it's from the house of THIERRY MUGLER. It was my very first blind buy. It is pure malt, hands down one of my favorite boozy scents. Whiskey, dried fruits and patchouli. I mean, can't get more unique than this in the designer side. Wonderful scents. Boozy, I love boozy fragrances, and it's all thanks to pure malt. What a fantastic whiskey accord in here. You still can purchase this one for a very affordable price, so if you love boozy, sweet fragrances, try pure malt. I get wonderful performance with this one. Pure Malt by THIERRY MUGLER have a very special place in my heart because it was my very first blind buy. Next, it's a fragrance from the house of Histoire de Parfum, and it's a hidden gem. It's Edition Rar Ambrarem, and look at the color of the liquid. Very complex. This is one of the most daring fragrances in my collection. Wow, this is amber, of course. It's amber, but it has castoreum, a very prominent, filthy, dirty note of castoreum that takes this amber into a leathery territory. But it's quite animalic, it's quite musky, it's resinous, it's slightly balsamic. It's wonderful. If you love ambers, if you love animalics, check this one out. It's very complex, dark, beastly performance, and it's wonderful. It's a hidden gem of amber by the house of Histoire de Parfum. Next, it's from the house of SERGE LUTENS, and I actually blind bought 2 or 3 fragrances from the house, but well, for the sake of this video I will just mention one because it's very unique. It is Fille en Anguille. This one right here. It has its praise in the fragrance community. It's so unique. This is Christmas tree in the bottle. It's very balsamic, and you really can detect this pine tree accord, slightly resinous but very balsamic. It has frankincense in here, that's why it's quite balsamic and slightly resinous. But it feels like you are under a Christmas tree, pure and simple. Not very versatile, but uniqueness, the quality, the blend is here. It was a big score. Fille en Anguille by SERGE LUTENS. It's fantastic, and I blind bought this fragrance, but I don't recommend you to blind buy this one. Actually, I don't recommend you, and this I should mention before, I don't recommend you to blind buy any of these fragrances that I'm mentioning, because you need to know your tastes, and if you are blind buy, you need to be sure that at least you might enjoy that fragrance. But well, that disclaimer aside, next one, it's from the brand of Bentley, the only cheapie featured here, well, aside Lalique and Noir, à l'extrême, but this one it's also a cheapie. It is Bentley Intense for Men. Has a lot of hype surrounding this fragrance, and I understand why. Boozy, it has rum, it has leather, it has an ambery touch in here, slightly spicy. This is a very mature fragrance, but nonetheless it's dark, it's complex, the quality it's incredible for a car brand fragrance. It's wonderful. Slightly similar to Chambre Noire by Olfactive Studio, and also by there's a fragrance from the house of Lubin. It's Idole, I think. that it's also similar to Bentley Intense for men, or for men Intense, but this is lovely. If you love boozy fragrances again, more dark, heavy fragrances, I think you should consider to try this one at least. Quite affordable. I purchased this one for again in Notino, and it was a year ago. 100ml bottle size like this will run you for between 30 to 35 euros. So quite affordable, especially for the quality, for the blend, for the uniqueness. Bentley for Men Intense, love this one of my best blind buys. And next, it's from the house of Gucci, and this is a two-way tie because these two fragrances are incredible, very different from each other, but still incredible. They are Gucci Pour Homme 2 and Gucci Intense Oud. Gucci Pour Homme 2 is one of the best tea-based fragrances. Gucci Intense Oud, it's probably the best mainstream oud type of scent. This one, this was the biggest risk for me. I didn't know if I would love or not, because I never tried back then. I never tried any tea-based scent, so I didn't know what I should expect. But this is wonderful. It has cinnamon, it's very spicy, has this black tea accord, and it's so zen, so relaxing. It has a sweetness in here, and it's alluring, very alluring scent. Love Gucci Pour Homme 2. This is the reason why I love tea-based scents, and it's all thanks to Manny from Cascade Scents. It was thanks to his recommendations that I tried, and I blind bought Gucci Pour Homme 2. Gucci Intense Oud, a different realm. This is oud, although, well, you can argue if this has real oud or not. I really highly doubt that this has real oud in here, but nonetheless, it's blended to perfection. It's balsamic, has a very heavy note of incense in here, has dark woods, it's masculine, it's sophisticated, it's intense, it's simply it's the best for me, the best mainstream oud out there, and you can purchase this one for 80 euros for a 100ml bottle size like this, or I think this is a 90ml. Yeah, this is a 90ml, and this one, it's still very affordable in the online discounters, although it's discontinued, but you still can find good deals in online discounters for Gucci Pour Homme 2. Wonderful fragrances right here. I blind bought these fragrances and I don't regret at all. Next, let's go for the house of AMOUAGE, and seriously, don't recommend any blind buy from the house of AMOUAGE. But well, I knew my tastes and I took the risk, and it was one of the best, if not the best, blind buy, because I love this so much. The fragrance is Jubilation 25. Wow, probably my favorite AMOUAGE, and I have quite a few, but this one, you have the fruitiness in here. I think it's blueberry or blackberry. I think it's blueberry. You have also oud, you have myrrh, you have frankincense, you have everything. Over 25 accords in here, blended to perfection. Again, it's regal. I mean, look at this bottle presentation, the color of the liquid inside. It's regal, it smells rich, it has power. Of course, the performance, it's insane, like almost all AMOUAGEs. Jubilation 25, it's one of my all-time favorite fragrances, and I blind bought this one, and I still to this day don't regret, and you can see how much I already wore this one. Jubilation 25. And last but certainly not least, from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI, it is LAUDANO NERO. Oh. Featured on my winter list of last year. It was my number one, and I have three fragrances from TIZIANA TERENZI. I have LAUDANO NERO, Al Contrario, and Ursa, and I blind bought all the three of them, but this one is my favorite, followed by Ursa and then Al Contrario, which is a delicious gourmand fragrance. But LAUDANO NERO is quite often compared with Black Afghano by Nasomato, I think they are still different enough to have both, but definitely I prefer much more Laudano Nero. You have cognac, this is much more resinous, much more balsamic, and much more complex. The performance, it's also here better in longevity rather than in projection, but the sand cloud around you, it's insane. It's to die for. It's very appealing, very sexy. I simply love this one. Boozy, dark, heavy, slightly ambery, woody, has wood in here. I mean, this is fantastic. Laudano Nero by Tiziana Terenzi finishes this list. Guys, hope you enjoyed this list. Tell me in the comments down below what are your favorite blind buys, and see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.